Okay, welcome to another FujiNet video. This one is on Apple II and maybe sneak peek at 3, state of the art. So October, we're beginning of October, we're going to take a look at what FujiNet's done. There's been a lot of changes for the Apple II, and so we're going to take a look at some of the apps. The first one up is Fujitzee. This is another amazing game client and server from Eric Carr. And recently, he's put a ton of effort into the Apple II version, and it's really quite amazing. When you first start it up, you get a new little blurb called It's Your Turn. It gives you very simple instructions on what to do. After your first roll, that disappears and you never see it again. The gameplay is very nice, and the graphics enhancements for the Apple II are amazing. Here I'm playing against 2 AI players. You can see each player's role now is highlighted with like some very thick purple bars, thanks to the color artifacting on the Apple II. And you can roll the die, pick the die that you want to keep between the rolls, and then you get up to 3 rolls, and then you can take a score that you see there. The new enhancements now show the different rounds, so there's always 13 rounds of Fujitzee, and you see what round you're in. This helps because you can have spectators. If all the seats at any given game were taken, people can still join and spectate, and that way it lets them know what round that they're in and how long they'll have to wait to the next game, and they can ready up. So you basically go through all the players, they roll their die, they pick their counts, and whoever scores the most points wins. So this is based on a very popular dice game called Yahtzee. This is Fujitzee. To give you some comparison, we can take a look at the Atari client here. You can see that it really is quite favorable. The Atari client was the first one done by Eric, and then he's come along with the Apple II client. It's pretty much on parity in terms of design and elements. The Atari has a couple advantages because of its graphics system and some nice shading in there, but for what Eric has to work with the Apple II, I think it's an amazing job. So you can play that today with the FujiNet. Okay, you also can change colors. There's a couple options in the Apple II settings. If you exit out of the table, you can change the color mode, turn it on or off. I'm not an Apple II expert, so I don't really understand what it's doing because there still is some artifacting, it seems like, but basically it does take color out of the text. So with color mode to black and white, all the text is easier to read. There's also, as you can see, some help screens that are available in both versions of the Fujitzee client that help you figure out what's going on if you don't know how to play Yahtzee, and so you can read those. Like I said, the color mode, not exactly sure what's going on, but you've got a lobby, little mini lobby. You can see there's rooms with bots, and there's empty rooms for all players. Another amazing feature is local players. So he's added this. So basically with a local play, as you can see, you can add in some users. If you have a couple people surrounded, with you at your Apple or Atari, you can add them in, and everyone can play together, just sharing the same keyboard without having to play someone who may or may not be online. So you can set up the local players and then go into an empty room, which you're going to see here, and now there are the players here, and basically you just continue around as you would playing Fujitzee, but of course you're with your friends and they are taking their turns at the keyboards to ready up and toggle things on and off. It's quite nice. You can set up and remove the players as you need. It's a very straightforward option in the menus to go in and add the people as you saw, or take them back out if you all are done playing. So you can, of course, mix the modes. I could have gone into, someone else could join this table online and play with the people who are with me. There's no real separation between that. But if there's no one around, then you can just play with people right on one single computer. It's a very cool feature, and it's just come out from Eric after some suggestions from people to do this play. It's very cool. Okay, now we get to Bouncy World, and Bouncy World. This is a favorite of mine. It's a fascinating thing. Discord user Fenrock, his name is Mark. He has come up with a server and client component called Bouncy World. We'll get right into it. You can see Apple II screen full of bouncies. They are moving around inside a persistent world where multiple clients can join. I only have one client connected, the Apple II that you see here. And so everything's bouncing around my one screen. What are the bouncies? You see them there. There's a lot. I'll clean this up in a little bit. But there are different sized bouncies. I took the liberty of trying to name them. And so from smallest to largest, I call them Speedbits, which are the smallest, Quicklets, Spritzers, Thudders, and Bamblers. Each one is a larger size and has more mass in the world. And as they move around, the server calculates the position of each one and when they collide and what their trajectory is. The clients simply connect, have a viewport on the world space, and know how to draw any of the bouncies that are moving through their viewport. So as more clients connect, the viewport grows and the bouncies will move off screen onto the other clients. The server can handle quite a large number of clients. I think we've tested multiple tens of clients. And it's multi-platform, right? So we're looking at the Apple II because that's what's interesting for this video, but there's also an Atari client and even a Commodore 64 client. The shapes retain their same shape across the clients. Mark carefully chose shapes that could do this. So it's very cool. And the clients are set up, on specific edges of the screen. And I have other videos that can show some multiple clients. I'll put them together inside of one OBS stream so you can actually see how the bouncies move from client to client. But for now, this is just an Apple overview. There's a lot that can be talked about Bouncy World. It's a really cool app, and it's something that fascinates me. You can see the number of different shapes and their quantity in the little info screen at the bottom there. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the shape sizes and how many are there. You see the size of the window screen for the Apple. It's 160 by 88. You can also enter commands for the server from each client. You can see there's a freeze command, a reset, which clears the world and empties it. You can increase and decrease the speed. If you want to add more of the specific bouncies, you just type their number and it will create them at the origin, and then they'll continue to bounce around. And then there's a cool who command, which will show all the client names that are connected. So if you come in and it is a multi-client world that you connected to, who will show you who else is there, and then finally quit. So this is a really cool example of using FujiNet to do something way out of the box, network enabled multi-platform client that I think really embodies the spirit of FujiNet and the kind of things that we're looking for. This is a really cool demo, and it works very nicely across the platforms, but you can already see there's a lot of potential here for the world server that Marcus created. It's not a very big stretch of the imagination to think about some sort of multiplayer, multi-screen game, right? All right, and then we have the venerable ISS tracker. This application has been out for a while. I'm a little bit proud of it because it is one of the things that I've actually made a small contribution to recently. There's been work by Oliver Schmidt to enhance and work with some of the Apple II CC65 routines to essentially introduce lowercase. And you can see here, using that, I went in and just did a very small update to the ISS tracker to basically change it to lowercase so it wasn't set at that uppercase. This has been an app that's been around for a while. It's very cool. You can set it up and track the location of the ISS space station. It doesn't update that fast, so I'm going to speed the video up here in a moment just to give you a sense of the motion, but it does move around. I think it updates about every 5 minutes, and we'll put down the track. But this is another great little utility or app for the Apple II that you could just set and forget about, and it's a nice little demonstration showing a kind of a cool real-time view of the space station being tracked because of the FujiNet's networking capabilities and its ability to go and grab JSON responses from servers that are out there freely available on the internet and turn that into something useful to watch on your Apple. It's a very cool app. All right, next up we have the weather application from Discord user Shunkita, a developer. He appeared one day and ported the weather application to Apple II, which did not have it now. This new version shows you a nice countdown when it's fetching a bunch of data, because it actually goes out. You can see it takes a number of moments to grab all the weather data, and then it will display it for you, automatically determining where you are and finding the right closest city for all the meteorological data. I'm going to switch this over to Fahrenheit because Celsius doesn't mean much to me. And there we go. So you can switch, as you saw, the units from Fahrenheit to Celsius, and you can then get a forecast. There is the upcoming, I think it'll do 8 days advance. Let's see, yeah. And so you can get a readout on what you're going. Yeah, this is a really nice application that was very much needed for the Apple platform. It didn't have it. You also can look up random locations, basically typing in the name of a city. As long as it's a major city, it will find it and pull down that weather data for you. You can see the little countdown is nice. It does take a bit of time to pull down via JSON all of the forecast and weather data for each city. So that little countdown is very handy. And then you'll see the weather for the selected city. It's very useful. Here is another little app that's not really that new, but it's out there. It uses a FujiNet. It's kind of cool for your Apple II. The Mastodon reader. I believe Thomas Cherry Holmes wrote this app, and it is due for an update. It's one of the things that I might try to take a look at and do 80-column lowercase version, thanks to, again, some of the work that Oliver Schmidt has done. I think it's definitely possible to zhuzh this up and make it look a little bit cooler. Definitely 80 columns would give us a lot more information to read. But it basically just pulls Mastodon server continuously and updates with whatever news is the most recently posted, I think, with no filters on it. So be warned, you're going to get what you're going to get, whatever people are posting to Mastodon. There's definitely a couple of cool updates that this could use. For instance, keeping track of what story it last received, and if it has the same story again, to not update it until a new one posts. And like I said, the upper lowercase and 80 column mode, maybe with keys to switch back and forth, would be cool, and something that even I might try to take a stab at doing. So this is available and is another interesting demonstration of the ability for FujiNet to interact with modern APIs and protocols and do something useful on your Apple II. And hey, it's Eric Carr again. He has 5-card stud. It's been out for a while now for both Atari and Apple. And I think there's been some slight enhancements to the Apple. I'm not sure. I just wanted to show it because it's another cool game that's available. It's definitely state of the art. Basically, it's a traditional 5-card stud game where you can play with up to, I think it's 7 other players. I'm playing now with a bunch of bots. One card is down and the rest are all public cards, and you go round for round, betting, calling, raising, until all the hands are dealt and the highest hand wins the pot. So it's basically like a simplified version of Texas Hold'em. No community pot though. But this has nice graphics for the Apple. It's very playable. Cross-platform play is fun. And you can see Eric has implemented it very close, again, to the Atari. It's very usable. He also has the color switching mode again, where you can switch between a color or the black and white, depending on your monitor. I often play this on my Apple IIc with the little 9-inch screen mono CRT, and so I don't need and can't see any of the color. So the black and white version is very clear on that. But if you do have it on color TV, or on this case in through computer with a RetroTink, you get a nice color display with a little bit of differentiation on the hands. So there's not too much that's been updated on this. If you have already been playing it, it's just been refined and tweaked so that it stays up to parity with the Atari version. But definitely considered if you're looking for some fun multiplayer gaming on the Apple II. It's a fun game. Okay, hey, did you catch that? It said Apple III, not Apple II. The Apple III can boot and use FujiNet. So this is a sample of it booting the selector. Apple III is brand new to me. I just picked up one at VCF Midwest, and so I am exploring it. Of course, the first thing I did is hook up the FujiNet to it. And you know what? It just works. So you boot it in. The Selector 3 looks like a kind of launcher program with a whole bunch of stuff. I haven't gone through and explored it yet, but it's got some cool things inside of it, some games and other things. Looks like you can even use a mouse for it. But yeah, the Apple III, you boot in. Right now we're looking at a FujiNet on the Apple III. You can see that it has lowercase, although of course it doesn't have the mouse cursor characters because it's Apple III, but you just plug it in, it boots. I plugged mine in to take the place of the internal drive and don't have the internal drive connected anymore. And there's a whole bunch of amazing work done by Rob Justice. It's his boot ROM that will let you, that puts in the choice to boot off that, and a soft SP card allows a smart port to happen, and it boots in the Apple II mode until you pick something, and then when you boot, you get it. It's really cool. And Rob has also done something even more amazing, I guess, with Apple Business Basic, he has built the ISS tracker. He's had this around for a while, but there's not so many people with Apple III that have been on the Discord, so this was kind of buried. But here I am booting the Business Basic off of FujiNet, off of TNFS server, and there's a whole bunch of files in this hard drive image, and one of them is right there, ISS version 3. I will run that and take a look at Rob's implementation of the ISS tracker. So we just saw the Apple II version of that. Apple III version is very cool. It's actually looks better to me in some ways than the Apple II version. This thing has got a nice bitmap map. It has some big text. I don't know if we can make that smaller, but the actual ISS overlays on top of the bitmap is done nicer than with the Apple II. It doesn't have that weird block around it. It lets the background of the bitmap actually show through on the little satellite, so it's very cool. This, of course, is sped up 20 times, so we actually can see it move around. And there are a couple glitches, I think, in the logic. To track it, you saw it jump there a little bit, and sometimes when it crosses the border from the edge of the screen back over to the left, it glitches. But this is very cool. This is FujiNet working across the internet on an Apple III using basically. It's ready to go. So I'm going to be doing some more videos on the Apple III as I explore the system further. I've just started, but from what I've seen, it's really amazing what Rob has done to make it just plug and play. If you have an Apple III and have a FujiNet, you can use it today just by getting the 20 to 26 pin adapter for the FujiNet and a soft SD card. It's that easy. So more to come on the Apple III. Looks very cool.